started with our second 30 and 30. So we'll have everyone introduce themselves and just start sharing their ideas. So Patti.
Okay. Do I just yell real loud?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm Patti Roetman, and I have a little nature store in Boerne, Texas. That's outside of San Antonio. Just a ma store, not a pa, just me. And I've been in business for going on 27 years now. Is that it? Oh, okay. We do a frequent buyer program, which I know a lot of people will do. But as a consumer, I don't like somebody giving me a little card because I won't lose it. So what we do is we keep record for the customer. And it does several things. In that one, we get to know the customer by name. So when they come in, we'll go, oh, there's Mr. Carroll, you know, or there's Mr. Andrews. We know everybody by name. And we also can help them with, if they go, oh, I don't remember what I got last time, we can look it up for them. We don't do it with all of our seeds, we just do it with the blends that we make, which we make 5 different types of blends. Yes?
So what does the reward program?
Oh, I'm sorry. They get their 10th bag free. So after 9 bags, they get their 10th bag free. So whether it's a 5-pound bag or a 25-pound bag, we keep record that way. So if they buy a 5-pound of Cardinal, then their 10th bag of 5 pounds of Cardinal's free. And we have a lot of people that will just do a 25-pound bag of our premium blend. So because they're different prices, we keep them at different, we keep record as the type of seed and the amount that they get.
I'm Harrington from Nashua Farmers Exchange in Nashua, New Hampshire. We've been under that name since '91. I've been there in that particular store since '78. It's basically a feed and grain store, an old farm supply store. We don't do anything mechanical. It's all hand tools or seeds, animal feeds and stuff. Probably our biggest promotion is our annual truckload birdseed sale. We try once a year to sell 44,000 pounds of birdseed, a full truckload, in 3 days. We've never gotten all the way there, but we did do 39,000 pounds in 3 days a couple years ago.
Good on you.
The problem you have when you get going that far, though, is you have to get the SKUs right on the truck. That year, we did run out of one particular item before the sale got done. But every other year, I've managed to be right on.
How many SKUs are you doing?
I believe on the truck there's, it's either 16 to 20.
So you're doing all your mixes and everything?
We do our mixes and our biggest single selling seed items, yes.
I'm Lance Raffe. I own Wildbird Junction, a backyard bird feeding store in Albany, New York. And I want you to all put a little asterisk next to my name because we've only been in business a year and a half. So if you see me here in 2.5 years, you can kind of erase the little asterisk. But I think I've got a little different perspective as a new store because I'm dealing with all of this stuff now as the conditions exist for the backyard bird feeding business. And I don't have the history of what it was like when many of you started 27 years ago. That, in my experience, a lot of times small business owners, they continue to operate their business as it used to be and are slow to adjust to new things. So I'm dealing with things as they are now, like advertising and marketing and how that has all changed in the last few years. So one of the things that we do that we're very proud of is we very aggressively update and maintain our customer list. From day one that we open, our point of sale system forces my staff to ask people for their address and name and email address. In the 2 years, 4 months we've been open, I've got 4,095 names in my customer list, over 3,700 email addresses, and about 3,200 mailing addresses. And those numbers are different because we don't force them to give both. Some people don't want to give email, some people don't, but as long as we get some contact information in their name. And that kind of drives the core of my advertising and contact with the people I consider my core base. So my newsletter is going to them by email. I mail coupons twice a year that are special deals better to my customers. I invite them all the time to join, to like our Facebook page. So like I said, that's the core. My open rate for my email newsletters is about 24%, and my return rate for my coupons is about 18%. So by cultivating and managing that list, I get a pretty good return. And again, these are repeat customers. They know what our store is, they know what we sell, and by maintaining that constant contact, it gets them to come back. They may not come back weekly, but they know who we are. We're constantly in their back of their mind. So it just kind of drives that. And then word of mouth from there is what's been growing that customer list even larger.
Just a quick question.
Yep.
Do you package and work your own product, or do you get a supplier to supply you with your bird and your feed needs?
My seed?
Yeah. Is it prepackaged, or do you do it yourself?
I do both.
Okay.
I buy 20-pound and 40-pound bags through Lizzie May, who's my sole seed supplier out of Ohio. But I also break down seed into 5-pound bags, some 10-pound bags, and then I do a returnable milk jug.
Right.
Typically it only holds 4 pounds of our blends.
Okay.
But that's a returnable program where they bring it back and we refill the jugs and put them out. So I'm doing both.
So are you the inventor of your own blend, or is your blend basically somebody else's?
I have 9 blends.
That you formulated?
One is formulated, one is my store blend, we call it the house blend.
Okay.
People think we sell coffee, it's the house blend.
Okay.
But we have one house blend.
Yeah.
And that's kind of our introductory blend.
Okay.
So when people come in, and in our area there hasn't been many places to buy high quality seed.
Correct.
So they're shopping at Tractor Supply and the other big box stores.
Yeah.
So that's the blend when they come in. It's a lower price point,
Okay.
but it's a much richer than the crap you get at the big box stores. So we start them there,
Okay.
and if they're happy with that, then we work them up the chain for the other richer.
The reason why I ask that is because once you have control of your own blends and you have your own seed, the big boys can't touch you.
Mm-hmm.
Because true birders won't go to the Walmarts and the Costco's. They just won't. And if they do, it's because of price point. It's not going for quality.
Right, and I can't compete on price with anything, and I don't. It's an education drill is what it is.
Yeah.
People who are coming in who haven't had access to good seed, we work very hard on educating them about the difference. Yep.
You have an 18% coupon redemption. What are your top 2 coupons that you do?
I do 2 seasonal coupons. I do one in the spring and one in the fall, and it's a tiered coupon. So the more you spend, the savings, the percentage, essentially it goes from 15 up to 25% if you spend over $200. One-time use, right before Mother's Day, and I've got the holiday one going out probably the 3rd week of October, right after Columbus Day.
My name is Lisa Herzog. My husband and I started our business 34 years ago. We have a section of our store that is just exclusively for birding, and my buyer is back there, who does all the birding purchasing for me. One of our challenges is that we, unlike what you were saying, we have a lot of specialty bird stores in our area, so we have a lot of competition. We also are in a university town, which has its pluses and minuses. One of the drawbacks of that is that it's a very high turnover rate. So our challenge isn't just in keeping customers, but it's in constantly attracting new customers. So of the many ideas I wanted to share is that being a brick and mortar, and show of hands, how many are just brick and mortar stores? Okay, so quite more than I realized. As you all know, it's changed in the last 5 years dramatically. And we do a lot with social media, but we also find once a year, for the past 29 years, we have a really big event. It's our once-a-year event. This reminds me of it. We have 5,000 people come through in a weekend. And those are mostly new people. And most of those are not our customers. Yeah.
Can I ask you to speak up just a little bit?
Oh, sorry.
Where is your store?
Central Illinois. So Champaign-Urbana. And so this event is our way to really attract new people. And we do a give back program. All of the organizations that come are not-for-profit, and they're rescue organizations primarily. And so we put a lot of our money into this event because it gets national attention, it gets certainly citywide attention, and the way we do that is very risky. And I'm not necessarily suggesting that you do this because it can be risky, both financially, but more it could have some negative feedback. But we do campaigns, so we do a social media and a billboard campaign for this event because we have monies for this. And one of the things we do, we've done a couple that have been interesting. We had one that said Larry Bird coming on the date on a billboard. So everybody in town is calling the radio stations. Where is Larry Bird coming? Where is he coming? What venue is he going to be at? And we had about 5 or 6 celebrities of that nature. And then, of course, that's not what we and then the next, so that was the teaser, and then the next billboard would come up and say, and have a picture of Larry Bird, and Larry Bird is coming to Pepper Extravaganza on this date. So people would call and get really angry because they were expecting Larry Bird. But the positive way outweighed the negative, and the buzz was so much better because people who never come to our store are saying, who's this Prairieland Feeds and what are they doing? And so we've done a couple of those over the years. Another one we did was sort of a missing person. Have you seen this owl with a phone number? That's our phone number. And our store got a lot of calls. We had to have some people on staff to say, I think I've seen your bird. Your missing bird. You're missing it a long time. And we did a couple of animals, the gator, we had a macaw. And then again, the reveal came out that, come see this bird at our event. So we had a lot of fun with those, and it did create a lot of media buzz. So that's something I kind of recommend. And then we also tapped into the 2016 zeitgeist of the political campaign. So we had we had candidates where people would come in and vote at this event, and so we had I Tweet Better, vote for me, or I support housing, and then later that's a turtle or that was a bird. People got to vote, and it sort of diffused the tension of the elections, and that was a lot of fun too. So. Yeah.
Can you describe your event in a little bit more detail?
Sure. Yeah. So we have 15 to 25 non-for-profits in the Central Illinois area come, and they get volunteers. They bring live exhibits. That's the main draw, of course. Anytime you can have a live exhibit of animals, and so this was local exotic bird rescue, wildlife rescues, and every kind of other animal, equine rescue, you name it, across the species. And then we gave back, we would encourage them to go in and buy, and then we would give back a percentage of our sales to all of these organizations to support them.
Where is the event held?
We have a big enough property that we have a long porch, we have grass, we have horse rides for everybody to come out and ride Clydesdales and race horses. So, yeah.
What was the name of your?
Prairieland Feeds, America's Country Store.
We just started a new program. It's a Help Feed Wildlife, and it's a pay forward. So it kind of started with our frequent buyers. So if people said, oh, now's your free bag of seed, did you want to donate that to one of the, we have 5 different wildlife groups. So there's one of the nature centers, there's the Friends of Honey Creek, there's Primarily Primates, there's Wildlife Rescue, where they could donate their free bag to one of these businesses, or not business, but sanctuaries. And we found that most people go, oh no, it's my free bag. They don't want to give up something free. But they're willing to buy a bag to get them another step forward to their free bag. So they'll go, okay, I'll get my free bag, but I'll buy a 10-pound bag for Cibolo. And so we'll take their name and write it down that, Stacy Coons bought a 10-pound bag of cardinal for Cibolo and put it in their file. So when they come, Cibolo comes in to see what they have free, of course they're excited about it. It's like, oh, we get this, And we said, oh, you have this and that and this. So we give them the name of the person that they could put in their newsletter. So then the people get excited about it because they go, oh, my name's in the newsletter on this, you know, or their name's in print. So we just get excited about it. So
Speak up.
Okay. But the free bags, they will not give up, but they're more than happy to buy a bag for any one of their favorite charities. So it's been working out pretty good. We're only about 6 months into this, and I think we have like 380 pounds of seed that have been bought, donated for these groups. So we'll see in a little bit. I can see this working very well for people that sell dog food or animal food too, cat food, to donate it to humane societies or your shelters. Because I think people are always willing to, you know, feed animals. No doubt about that.
One thing I've been faced with over the years is how they advertise that's efficient. We are on the edge of the county. We back up to a river, and there's only 2 bridges over the river. We are almost on the state line. So we are constantly hit with people, other places that want us to buy into their advertising program because they cover such a large area. Well, we did a survey, and we discovered that 88% of our customers come from within 5 miles of the store. So now when a television station, a radio station, a newspaper comes in and wants us to buy into their program, I say, how many of your patrons are within 5 miles of the store? Rarely can they even give me an idea how many they are, and most of the time, most of their clientele is way away from us. I will say that I discovered with Facebook, you can actually set it to promote within 5 miles of your location. So we are going that way more and more and more with our paid advertising. At the same time, there are some things out there that are very low cost that go way beyond that. Does anyone out here have a radio garden show in their area? Well, if you're in the northern part of the country like we are, from about now and through until they start planting seeds in the spring, the garden people don't have an awful lot to talk about. So a few years ago, there was a friend of mine that actually had one of those shows, and he invited me to come on in early November to talk about feeding the birds. We had people come 60 miles to come to the store. And all it cost was a couple hours of my time talking. The same thing I would say on a Saturday morning.
So I'm gonna follow up on your Facebook comment. That is the other big tool that we use for getting the word out. And in my vast 2 years experience, I've figured out a few pretty easy things you can do in Facebook. You don't need to hire somebody, you just need to pay attention to what's going on there. One, we post all of our events on Facebook. And then as those events get closer, we boost them. But we use the demographic tool and focus not only on distance, but you can do things like income and education. And I'm a big believer in demographics for my store. So I focus on those people who I know are actually going to come and spend money. The other thing you can do on Facebook is once people start responding to either the events or to the post, to go in, and just because somebody likes a post doesn't mean they've liked your page. And if they like your page, they're going to be the first ones getting the other posts that you do. But you can go in and you can actually invite them to like your page once they respond in some way to the post. And that has been steadily building the number of likes for my page, which then gets the word out to that many more people. And the boosting part you can tailor. So when we do kids events in our store, I tailor it to young families. If we're doing a sale, then I've got another demographic. At this point, I've got about 7 different demographics that I've tailored based on what the event is and what we have going on. And it's pretty low cost to do that. And then, of course, just keeping things up like your store hours, and other things like that. People are routinely searching your store, and they're either getting Google or they're getting Facebook. If your hours aren't accurate, if your phone number is not accurate, they're not going to come to you, or they're going to show up 2 hours after you're closed. So it's a pretty easy task to do, but just make sure you're staying on top of those simple items in your store.
Are you open 7 days a week, or are you open?
My wife thinks I'm open 8 days. Yeah, 7 days a week.
And your hours are the same every day, or do you change?
I change them. My core hours are 10 to 6, Monday through Friday.
Okay.
And Saturday 10 to 5, Sunday 11 to 4. For probably 3/4 of the year, I do a Thursday evening till 8 o'clock.
How does that work for you?
Not great.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
But it's more of a customer service thing. I want people to know that we have a late night for those people who need to, I mean, we do a similar seed program, so I've got people coming in, returning customers who just come in to pick up seed.
Yeah.
I want them to know that for most of the year they can come in one evening after work.
Yeah, I tried that, it didn't work.
Yeah, I had more hours originally,
Yeah,
later
on
hours,
the
but
weekend.
I'm willing to bite the bullet on those 2 hours that I'm open later to, just as a customer service and kind of a branding thing that we're here for you.
Yeah, I found my weekends to be far better than staying open, past 6 o'clock on a Thursday night. I'm in kind of a light industrial area, and believe you me, by 7 o'clock it goes down. There's nobody, absolutely nobody.
Yeah, we're on a road that is used by a lot of commuters, so we do have, yes, it's not overwhelming, but we do have people who will stop in at 3 minutes to 6, where we would normally
Well,
count out the
that's what I'm saying, 6
Right,
o'clock is great, but staying open till 8.
But if they're coming in a little later, they know they have that one night that they can come in and pick up seed and kind of do that with them.
You mentioned the demographics. How do you know what your customer demographics are versus your potential customer demographics? If you're targeting just your customers versus the demographic of your current customers versus what maybe the community that's...
So the historical demographic for a Wildbird store is pretty set. It's empty nesters and retirees. It's some college education or higher. It's upper middle class income, single family homeowners. That demographic is pretty well established, and that's what I target. And I put my store, when I was picking a location for my store, I picked it largely on the demographics of the community I'm in.
Yeah, no, the reason I ask is we have multiple stores.
Yep.
And we have very different demographics from store to store. And both in ethnicity, as well as age, as well as commuters, families are predominant in one, seniors predominant in another. That's why I was asking. Is the industry numbers I see out there are reflective of some locations, but are very offset for other stores. And so when we're doing marketing, we're always trying to say, what is our demographic? Are we missing some group in one of our stores because we're targeting only older people or retirees, whereas we should be hitting the families in those communities?
Well, when I open my second and third store, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to ask a question about the demographic being an older group, but also less familiar with social media. How have you blended those two things together? They seem to be at odds with my location and my customers. The older folks that are buying the seed don't even want to put their signature on the screen pad. So I'm just trying to hear what you say about that.
My experience is that my older customers, they're all on Facebook. Sharing pictures and keeping tabs on their kids. Well, my kids aren't on Facebook anymore because they knew we were on it. But they're yeah. Yes.
When you're boosting posts on Facebook, how much money are you throwing at it?
It depends on how important the event is to me, but I typically do $20 to $50, and I'll do it. A week to 2 or 3 days before the event. So we're talking 7 to 3 days out. And again, a lot of it is just knowing what the event is and what I expect the return to be and how much
What kind of
I
feedback
expect.
are you getting on your analytics?
My feedback is my sales numbers, not the
No, and that's
analytics
what it's
from
about.
Facebook.
It doesn't make any difference how great the post look if it's not generating any income.
Right, I know that when I post stuff on Facebook, traffic increases at the store. And sometimes people don't even know why they're coming to the store. They know that they've seen it and they don't know where they've seen it or whatever, but people show up.
I would love to get the name of that programmer that you're using for that particular, or they just come in because they don't know why.
They don't remember why is what it is.
Oh, gotcha, that demographic.
Yes.
I'm sorry, bracket.
I think that's such a true statement though, because when we do various media, and we've done every media out there, and ultimately it's social media where we get the best return on investment. But nevertheless, the multitude of media is more helpful, I found, than any one in particular, because you're hitting different demographics. So, for instance, in this campaign, it was very expensive because we were doing billboards, which was very expensive, but it was a big event, and we got a big return on that investment. We also get a ton of free media off those billboards because of the buzz. If it's not clever, you're not going to get any of that, so it's not worth it. But we do a lot of small events, and one of the things that we know is that the experience cannot be a short experience. I'm going to have to get my blank feed. It has to be, an experience that's worth getting in their car and not buying it online. And so for us, again, it comes back to events, educational seminars, and lots of those we don't do this. We do social media to advertise because the return on investment doesn't justify the expense. So certainly that, but one of the events of the many we do, we try to do as many as we can to keep the community and different segments of the community interested, is a wildlife babies shower. And one of the advantages in being a university town is that they have a wildlife clinic. It's a non-for-profit, and they educate the community about when to save wildlife, when to not, and then we have it as a big family event where they can come in, watch the newborns that are orphaned getting fed, and then we do a sale in conjunction with that, and then they bring baby gifts, right? So they hopefully buy them at our store, they don't have to, and then they bring baby gifts to the shower. It's a shower theme, and again, it's just being creative, I think, always.
I have one question, and it's for all the panel members. On a yearly basis, what is your advertising cost? Each one individual. You see where you're going.
Percentage or dollars?
Dollars.
Advertising costs?
Percentage would be more important.
I think ours is around 30,000.
30,000?
Right. I think I spent about 12,000 last year.
Okay.
I think we were more closer to 6,000 or 7,000.
I love how it goes down. We're probably about 5,000.
But we have a 20,000 square foot store. So, I mean, it's a much bigger.
Percentage of sales tells us more than that dollar does.
So the bird department of that represents a very small part of that. So that's not.
Because what I was getting at is that each one of you had a different level.
Yeah.
Okay? But each one is at, you're basing your total, your presence is out there to what you're spending in advertising. A lot of you are using the easiest way, which is Facebook. And there's now, of course, there's radio, there's television, and there's paper. But of course, anybody doing newspapers these days, it ain't there. It ain't there.
Just out of curiosity, you gave us what the amounts were. What percentage of that would be traditional media, and what percentage would be social media?
Out of the dollar figure, or well, it depends. If it's a small event and we're doing 100% social media, that's 100%. And it's
But out of your budget, like you said, I think you said 30,000 a year is.
probably 1,000, 2,000 like that. And it is more. I mean, I recommend social media. I definitely do that. I would say cost per dollar, but again, that wouldn't have been enough to bring 5,000 people to it.
So most of mine is mailing these postcards. Right?
So
So
your
the printing
cost
and then
is
the postage is expensive. But I also do some TV. seasonally, which is also expensive. And that's much harder to measure. It's more of a branding thing. And again, I'm a new store. I'm trying to get my name out there so that people don't know we exist. I do underwriting at a public radio station, which covers the whole area. And again, back to the demographics. That is not inexpensive because they have a huge reach, even though I'm not going to get people from 80, 90 miles away. They have multiple stations that cover that area. And then I also, of all the weird things, there is an independent movie theater that does more arty kind of things and documentaries and things like that, which is very close to my store, but brings in people from all throughout the Capital District because it's kind of a stand-up, it's unique. And I do a screen advertisement in all of their theaters, and that actually is bringing people in who wouldn't typically come into the town where I'm situated. So again, and that's not that inexpensive either.
How much is that?
It runs $400.
Any of y'all selling online?
No.
Are you selling online up there?
Looking at it, but not convinced that it's worth the investment.
Anybody in the room selling online? What format? Shopify, through your own website?
Our own website. We also sell a little bit on Amazon, but most 90% of it is online. But it's about 42% of our total sales.
Oh my goodness.
I'd like to talk to you when you need to.
This is the IRS.
We made it the 30-minute mark, so.
Canada.
Oh.
All right, thank you guys so much.